Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mark.
And a very wet morning.
Oh, it was this morning. Did you? Well, I don't know if you got thunder down at Ocean Grove.
Got thunder down under, yes, we did.
East Geelong, boy, did we cop it. But anyway, it's needed, and I'm sure the farmers won't complain about it, unless they're pulling their crops off at the moment. But so Sunday, the big fun run in Geelong, which went really well.
Yes.
That's good to see.
Biggest number they've had, I think.
That's right. The council elections are over.
Yep.
So we'll wait and see. That's all I'm prepared to say.
And did you watch the corpse player on the streaming from the council?
I saw the queue outside the Geelong Gardens.
I actually got fascinated watching this. I can't believe I was watching a streaming of a flower waiting for it to bloom. But anyway, it's all very exciting.
So here we are today, Mark, out at Federal Mills in North Geelong, and what a great complex that is. So who are we talking to today? Today
we're talking to Shannon Kennedy from the Kennedy Group. And welcome, Shannon.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to our new office.
It's very impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
A little tricky to find, but that's just because of us. Anyway, Shannon, where did you go to primary school? Let's start at the beginning.
Primary school, well, our family's very much Williamstown born and bred. So grew up in Williamstown, went to St Mary's Primary School in Williamstown, as did my father. And actually, they're one of our longest serving customers.
Oh, wow.
I remember Dad coming in doing the plumbing, and we're still doing the plumbing there now.
Oh, that's good.
I love it. And early memories of Williamstown?
Yeah, fond. It was very much it felt like a country community. Everyone knew everyone back then. I'd ride my BMX around town, and Dad played football for Williamstown, so I couldn't get away with much. Everyone knew who I was, or most did. So, it was a great place to grow up.
Sorry, Mark, have you ever seen the Williamstown footy oval?
Yes.
Right. Well, it's straight it's on the edge of the bay, and on some games I saw down there a long time ago, the ball didn't go up the other end when the wind was blowing.
Some big crowds. They used to get big crowds back in the day in the 80s.
Right.
It was,
when we moved down from Sydney and we sort of asked people where should we live, they said to us, you should pick Williamstown because it's sort of in between Geelong and Melbourne. It's a nice place. We didn't. We ended up settling on the Bellarine. But, it's a good spot.
So moving out of that into high school, where was that?
Yeah, so when we bought a farm, or Dad bought a farm down in Bamborough, down in Deans Marsh.
Yes, I know that well.
When I was probably 13, 14, and made the decision to move down there permanently when I was 16. So did year 7 to 10 at St Kevin's in Melbourne, and then year 11 and 12 at St Joey's.
Which is a famous school in Geelong because it keeps popping up, Bill, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I will declare, I've been to both schools. I went to St Joey's and I went to St Kevin's. So it's a small world, isn't it?
I must admit, I enjoyed the move to St Joey's. It was, a different crew and a different crowd to St Kevin's, and I felt I definitely fitted in there better.
Yeah. And what was on the farm? Was it a working farm?
Yeah, it was. Dad still obviously had the business running. He'd go down to Melbourne a couple of days a week and then spend the rest of the time at the farm. But, it was beef cattle. Wasn't huge. I think it got to the point, did buy the neighbour's farm at one point, and I think it was around 300 acres, something like that. Unfortunately, not in the family anymore.
Sold and gone.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's right. And whilst you're at the St Joey's, do you have any idea what you wanted to do when you left school?
I did. I always plumbed.
Yep.
Every school holidays, I'd plumb. So I'd go down to Melbourne and stay with my nan who lived in Williamstown, and get out with the boys. I knew I wanted to finish year 12, so I did that.
Yeah.
But when I started my apprenticeship the next year, I remember some of the older guys that had been with us for a long time. They said, "Well, you might as well just go straight to second year. You've done your first year with all the other holidays that you've done."
Well, that's recognition of prior learning, isn't it? I noticed St Joey's got a trade school now up there. Which is good, really good. So, and was the apprenticeship with your dad's business?
Yes, it was. Yeah. No,
you haven't moved far, have you?
I have not moved far.
So, any other jobs while you were at school? Did you do anything on the side?
I did the local paper round around Williamstown.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't. I had the 2 milk crates bolted onto the front of the BMX, and that was fairly early on. I think grade 6, grade 5, grade 6. I might have dropped it in year 7, having to jump on the train early to go to St. Kevin's. So it was an early one, that one.
Yeah.
We did a podcast with a garlic man down near Hamilton, and he tells the story of on Saturdays he had so many of the Age and the Sun or the Herald or whatever it was in those days, and he had to push his bike; it was too heavy to ride.
Thankfully, Williamstown's pretty flat, but yeah,
Makes
there's
it
a few
easy.
stories there.
So, with plumbing in your blood, what's the process then for you to get into it? So you did your apprenticeship,
Yep.
and were you one of the boys?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think probably more likely get thrown into the harder stuff. My uncle was running the business at that point in conjunction with Dad. They were both directors and shareholders, but I think we did asbestos removal as well, which can be quite onerous and laborious. So, I'd get thrown into a lot of that as well. So, I can't say I definitely wasn't protected. I was one of the boys. And more often than not, with the way that some people operate, you get probably treated a bit harder. Amongst the crew.
Yes, been there, done that.
Yeah,
Now, and also your brother's now a partner with you in the business. Did he go through the same process?
No, Chris's was different. He left school a little bit earlier, I think, it might have been year 11, and went into landscaping. So the family was living in Anglesea at that point, and Chris did a landscaping apprenticeship down there. So I think he stuck with that for 4 to 5 years and then made the change and came over to the family business. So he started his apprenticeship later.
That's right, and both of you
result.
are now joint directors?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Just
what was the transition within? How did you move through the organisation? Were you thrown into different roles and different jobs? Or
I think it's more of a natural progression and it's not that I was necessarily treated different in that respect with the progression. Experience and enthusiasm and the want to lead and take on a bit more, you'll grow more naturally and progressively through. So, that didn't just apply to me; it applies to others with that mindset. And so, it was. You do your apprenticeship. Towards the end of your apprenticeship, you start taking on some small jobs and taking responsibility and into finishing your apprenticeship and taking on bigger jobs. And it got to the point, probably mid-20s, where I was sort of running. We were doing more construction at that point, especially out of Geelong, and I was living and working out of Geelong then, where I'd be running sort of 10 dozen guys on a project and coordinating all things that go with that, and with support out of the office. So,
how many people you employ?
At the moment, we're around 110.
Yeah, that's a pretty big workforce.
Yeah.
And so, talking about that, they all require leadership, of course.
That's right.
So, and I noticed that at some stage you did do a diploma in management, but
you've done your homework, Bill.
Right. Yep. So we stalk everyone. So Shannon, leading a force of over 100 people requires some leadership skills. If I went out and spoke to your people, even the guys driving the trucks out on the field and all the rest of it, and said, "What's Shannon's leadership style like?" What response do you think I'd get? Not what you'd like to get, but what would I get?
What would they say?
No, that's a good one. I like to lead from the front. I like to lead by example, and by doing and not saying necessarily. Integrity, treat people with respect in the way that I would like to be treated. So they're quite simple, but proven, and it's got me to this point. And,
it's not rocket science, is it, in reality? Because I have another saying about business is about people doing business with people. And it's about conversations again.
100%.
That's what it's about.
100%.
Yeah. And the division between yourself and your brother, who looks after what?
Yeah, that's a good one. We've both got our strengths, obviously, and weaknesses, and we know what they are. I'll tend to be the one that'll, pick up the conversations and get involved on, more financial things or, working with Mark, our CFO, or through the accounts. Chris's strengths are definitely in that asbestos space, working with the guys in there, safety, procedures, policies, all that kind of stuff, which which I'm not, and I have no minimal interest. Well, safety, yes, but the policies and procedures and things, Chris jumps on that, so it works well in that respect. He'll tend to you'll get us in a meeting together too. He'll tend to sit back and listen. I'll do most of the talking, but we'll leave the meeting and we're very much aligned.
Yeah, well, Mark, we forgot to mention actually that Kennedy's won the Geelong Business Award section for health and safety, and that makes sense now that we're talking about asbestos and the industry you're in.
It did, and congratulations on that, because that was a good win.
We were absolutely stoked with it.
That's good.
The
So
team was on a high for weeks.
Very good.
Yeah, so, the lay person like us, we read about asbestos and all the rest of it. Is it what sort of issue is it in the workplace? Is, just in general terms?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in places where you don't think it is.
Yeah.
It's a big part of our business. So it probably accounts for 30 to even more, 40. Well, last year up to 40-50% of our turnover. Wow. So we're getting involved in a lot of schools and government facilities working with asbestos. But back to your question, you'll find it everywhere. It's all about you can't inhale it and get those fibres into your lungs. That once they're there forever, and that's the risk. So it can't be taken lightly. Yeah. It's important everyone holds it with respect, looks at it and treats it with respect.
I remember from my Target days, some of the older buildings that we took over, you'd go down into the cellar and the pipes were all asbestos wrapped.
Mm-hmm. Lagged.
And it used to be, what do we do here? Right, well, let's just leave it all. To having to work on it, incredible, the amount of full suits and
that's right,
pressurised and all sorts of things, because horrendous stuff.
So there's a lot of licensing, training.
When it's inert,
PPE.
it's all right, isn't it? When it's inert,
if it's untouched, well then it doesn't become fibrous and it's not in the air. You can have a hail event which can then damage roofs and so then that's a different discussion. But essentially left untouched, you can probably rest assured that for that period it's fine.
Yeah. So as far as the business goes, I didn't take much notice on the website, but I should imagine you'd had every possible accreditation you could have, particularly dealing with government and large companies.
That's right.
So I've come across some businesses recently when I've talked about ISOs, particularly in environmental, and they said, "Oh no, we don't need that." But I think it's important. But what do you think?
Yeah, we've stepped that up, that space over the last couple of years. We've got the accreditations as well. Yeah. We've recently got out them a couple of years ago. Environmental is one of them. Yeah. We've also just this year appointed or elevated one of our leading hands into the NOHS management position. So we've got that full-time presence now. Yeah. He gets around the sites, he audits the sites, and keeps on top of all the licensing and stuff for us as well. So, it's priority for us.
Yeah. Is the culture of the organisation such that people will put their hand up if they see something unsafe or?
Yeah, we're taking it to that point for sure. Yeah. It's not just near misses. We've just recently changed the catchphrase from a near miss to a good catch. Yeah. So trying to encourage people to bring it up and have the discussion rather than, oh, that was a near miss, I might get in trouble. Yeah. No, it was a good catch. Let's talk about it.
And at the end, it is everybody, because you can't have your person that's designated as their role being the only person that picks it up, because it's day to day.
No, and the younger generations are better.
Are they?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, very much so. Much more safety conscious than the older generations.
Is that through tech training and stuff, do you think?
I think it's multiple. Tech training, culture, expectation, even right through from school.
Well, it is the next
mum and dads. Mum and dads aren't just suck it up and do it anymore. They want their kids.
It
to
is
come
a
out.
next generation issue, and rightly so. It's because as a director of a company, as you would well know, and when we talk to business owners, and particularly in family businesses, we come across a number of people that really, as directors, don't understand their liabilities under the Corporations Act, which is changing all the time. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the OH&S legislation, it's changing weekly.
Yep.
And some of the penalties attached for directors and senior managers now, it's frightening. Yep. So you've got to be on top of it. And obviously you are on top of it.
And being on top of it doesn't mean you're shielded from...
That's right.
Those potential issues either. So, we do the best we can do and we look to improve. Because we recognise that exposure.
Yeah. Shannon, have you done any other studies since you finished your apprenticeship and stuff?
Well, that diploma that Bill mentioned, but most of it's on the job, to be honest.
Learning as you go.
Yeah, very much so, and it's changed a lot over the last 17 years. I went into the office at 30. We had a change in the structure, and Dad brought out his brother, and I was thrown into the hot seat in Williamstown. Dad didn't want to move off the farm, so it was a baptism of fire. And hindsight's great. I'd do a lot of things different if I had my time again. But those mistakes, you grow and you become stronger.
Well, they're just sometimes a learning opportunity, isn't it?
And the thing I think that we were talking off microphone at the beginning is succession planning in family businesses can always be a tricky one. Mm. You seem to have done that transition really nicely with your dad stepping away. So how did that all work through?
It was initiated by Dad, to be honest.
That's fantastic.
I think he was ready for the next chapter in his life.
Yep.
He's always enjoyed doing. He's always been a hard worker, but he's always enjoyed doing other things as well. And I think he started seeing those other things and wanted to do them a little bit more. And I think Dad's the first one to say that he was comfortable. He was leaving the business in good hands, which gave him the confidence to essentially step out. Which, to put the shoe on the other foot, I think that if you had that 100% confidence, I'd be the same.
So is there a next generation coming through?
There is. It's funny because we're having those conversations now. My boys at St. Joey's in year 10 and 11.
Oh, 3 choices to make.
Yeah, there is choices to start making, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and is he interested in plumbing?
Yeah. So Miller, my eldest, is a little bit more academic.
Yeah.
So he's looking in other directions, maybe engineering or something like that. But nonetheless, we still have conversations around how that might come back to the family business because the dynamic and the model of the business is changing and moving, and we're starting to look to move. Not just we'll always maintain our plumbing, our asbestos, our mould and soil remediation, but that principal contractor type work, we see opportunity there, and our clients approach us to complete that principal contractor type work. So, hard maintenance, let's call it. So we're starting to move down that line now. And so, if you've got some engineering experience, well, that would come hand in hand with that. And
it complements
100%,
the business.
100%. Yes. And also, so Cooper, my youngest son, he's a little bit more hands-on and wants that trade sort of style.
Have you dropped him on the tools yet?
He's done a building or a carpentry work experience.
Fantastic.
I was just talking to him a couple of nights ago actually about jumping on with us in December when he finishes school.
Well,
because where your journey started, so you'd be keen to see if he's got that aptitude.
He has.
Fantastic.
Shannon, we do a lot of work in succession or with family businesses, and I write what I call the rules of the game, which is, or some people call it a family charter, and that's when the family get together and they talk and discuss and agree on the rules of how they'll talk to each other, and how all sorts of things happen. And one of the rules of the game is always go somewhere else and work for 2 or 3 years, go overseas, go wherever. Don't, as you did, or don't come straight into the business. Get that learning curve first, and then come back, and the business will be better off. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If the boys did go down that line and they wanted to join the family business and start a plumbing apprenticeship, I would push for them to go do their apprenticeship elsewhere.
Yeah,
just to give them that other.
And I'd be selective on where that was.
Yes.
Because you want it to be a positive experience and a growth experience. But I think looking back, if I had done that, I think there'd be advantages.
Yeah, and you'd have connections with other plumbing businesses, obviously,
yes,
who would probably love to have a Kennedy working.
Yeah, maybe they know what the ultimate intent might be. They might not want them in there, but
that's right. Now let's go back to St. Joey's markers. The St. Joey boys we have interviewed and all. Everyone's into sport, and it is a sporting school. In fact, I've got a grandson going there in a couple of years. So, in your family, what happens outside of work with you and with the boys?
So it's sort of 2 periods of my life. One was football.
Yes.
So played down at Geelong Amaze.
Yep.
So pretty tight with the club down there, and that's where the 2 boys are playing as well. So they're not playing at St. Joey's. They're all down at Amaze.
Yep.
It's
a great club.
It is great.
Yeah.
It's well led, great culture and values. So that's important, and successful as well. So. I think Miller's won 2 and Coop's won 1 grand final, and
good.
They're not even playing senior footy yet. So I told them to lap it up because you can go right through and not win any.
It sounds like my Scobbers days in the old, back in the 60s.
Yeah, but in my mid-20s I moved over to motorbikes and started chasing that around the state, racing different events and things, and that passion.
Dirt bikes?
Yes, that passion's still there, and The boys follow in my footsteps, and we all get out on the motorbikes.
I'm just checking that his arms are still intact. He hasn't got how many broken legs?
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I stopped playing footy to go to the motorbikes, I still remember the president at the time raising his eyebrows going, well, I don't understand why you're stopping playing footy to go race motorbikes, and you're saying it's because you're always getting injured. But the motorbikes experience, touch wood, I haven't had a bad experience. I think you're hanging on. So.
Yeah, let's not curse him.
Good.
And your brother got kids? Is it?
Yes, yep. Chris has got 2, so yep, he's got Jed and Jimmy. So he's busy with those 2.
So is there interest in their side in the business?
A
bit early.
It is a bit early. Jimmy, I think, talks about it. He's in the same age as Coop, so he's in year 10.
Yep.
He talks about it, but I think he's very much exploring options as well. So good on him. And Jed's too young. He's in grade 6.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's all about basketball.
So Shannon, we're having this conversation in 5-6 years' time. Describe the business.
I think our business dynamic would have changed a little. Yeah. We'll still have the heart and soul of the plumbing and the asbestos and the mould and that part of it. There's too much hard work and too many years that have gone into that you would ever let that go. But I think that principal contractor thing, I really can see momentum there. We're starting to pick up jobs already.
Yeah,
that's good.
But along with that, I think there'd be other talent and resources that we'll have to bring into the business to assist with that growth and that journey.
And technology will have advanced multiple times by then as well.
100%,
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
But so and then taking on those principal contractor jobs too, obviously, it's a big change to your revenue as well. So I think I would expect that from a revenue perspective, over the next 5 years we will double.
Yeah,
That's
that's
my
good.
expectation.
That's very good.
That's excellent.
It's interesting. Very much aware of Kennedy's as the brand, but didn't know the story. And it's interesting when you start having that conversation. Great family business, and I love the fact that you've got that succession in mind and you're thinking about it, because as Bill, you rightly know, so many family businesses fall apart at about the 3rd generation, and it's really good to
Only 12% make it to 3rd generation,
There you go.
and 2% beyond that.
Really?
Yeah, they're worldwide stats, because I'm on a panel that's in the UK on family business, and a lot of research is done there, and it's a worldwide fact. But that's as businesses grow and all the rest of it, the families multiply, and it can't accommodate everything. So change will always happen.
Yep.
I think a big thing for which attributes to our success, I think, is for myself and Chris anyway, is we very much have the same work ethic and expectation, and we're both committed to that. So you never ever question it. It's not like he would see me walk in the office at 9 o'clock and think, well, where's he been? Why wasn't he here at 7? We're both putting in no matter what we're doing, and it's never questioned. So once that's aligned, I think they can be when the cracks start to form, when those things happen. So,
and do you get away on holidays then?
Yeah, get away a bit. Yeah, we love going up to Bright. It does all. And the motorbikes, the push bikes, everything on 2 wheels, the action, and swimming in the rivers, all those things. So we go up to there a fair bit.
And a great river there, Mark.
It's a great town.
Right.
Yeah,
great town. Well, Shannon, fantastic. I've really enjoyed this one. I was looking forward to this chat, and as I said, the brand's very obvious in Geelong and beyond, and it's a great family story.
Yes, I agree. And again, congratulations on winning that award for the Geelong Business Awards. And as you know, Mark and I actually sit on the judging panel, but I didn't get you as one of my visits.
One of mine. So, and Shannon, how do people find you? What's the web address? Is
kennedysgroup.com.au.
So that's easy.
That's easy to find.
And you're down here at Federal Mills if someone did want to wander past. But good luck for the future. Love the way you're thinking. Love the culture in the organisation, and wish you all success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shannon.